Today, we're diving into one of the toughest cybersecurity exams out there, the CISSP. And the secret to unlocking it? Well, it might not be what you think at all.
So let's start with a bit of a puzzle. Why is it that some of the most brilliant, super technical security pros, they go and take the CISSP and they fail? It's a really interesting question, and it all comes down to perspective.
So here's the thing, you gotta understand, the CSSP isn't just another IT cert you can cram for. It's built from the ground up to be a management exam. It's not about finding that one perfect, technically elegant fix. Nope, it's about making smart, sound decisions for the business.
And this is really the heart of the problem, right? You've got these two ways of looking at things. Most people taking the test, they get stuck in that technical view. They're hunting for the most precise algorithm, the most lockdown firewall rule. But the exam is looking for the managerial view. Which answer is best for the business? Which one manages risk effectively and actually makes financial sense?
Yeah, this quote just nails it. The whole point of the exam is to rewire your brain a little bit, to get you to think like a manager. It's not about throwing away all your hard-earned technical skills. Not at all. It's about putting this new layer on top, thinking like a C-level executive. You've got to learn to speak their language.
Okay, so what is this secret mindset we're talking about? You know, the one that separates the people who pass from the ones who struggle? Well, it really just boils down to changing your role. You're not the doer anymore, you're the decider. Let's dig into that.
You know, this really explains why senior execs, like CISOs when they take the exam, they almost always pass. It's not because they memorize more flashcards. It's because they already live and breathe this stuff every single day. For them, a question about a business case or risk tolerance, that's just a normal Tuesday afternoon. Your mission is to get into that same headspace.
Okay, so theory is great and all, but how do you actually use this on the exam? Let's build a really practical framework, kind of like a manager's cheat sheet, to help you figure out what the questions are really asking.
So here it is. This is your mental checklist. Anytime you feel stuck on a question, run through these 5 things. Is there an answer that's about life safety? That's always number 1. What about a cost-justified decision? Or something based on risk-based analysis? Does it serve the needs of the business, or does it put people first? Seriously, if you see an answer choice that hits one of these points, it should jump right to the top of your list.
And let's be super clear about this one. Life safety, it's the ultimate trump card, period. In analyzing literally thousands of practice questions over almost 2 decades, this rule is practically unbreakable. Data, servers, company profits, none of that comes close to protecting human life. If you see it, it's probably the answer.
Right. So after you've made sure everyone is safe, the next big thing a manager thinks about is money, cost. But when you see dollar signs on the exam, don't just think cheap versus expensive. That's not it. You have to think value. A real manager doesn't just go out and buy the shiniest, most expensive firewall. No way. They do a cost-benefit analysis to make sure that whatever they're spending is actually justified by how much risk it reduces.
Okay, so beyond those big 5 concepts, there's another really powerful hierarchy you need to know, and this one can help you cut through the bad answers like a hot knife through butter. You've probably heard this before, but it is absolutely critical for the CISSP. People, then process, then technology. In that exact order. When you're looking at your answer choices, the most strategic, the most managerial answer is almost always going to be about people. You know, training them, hiring the right ones, building awareness. If you don't see a people-focused answer, your next best bet is to look for a process improvement. Then and only then do you look at buying a new piece of tech. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? In the CSSP, you don't fix problems, you fix processes. A technician sees a vulnerability and they patch it. That's a short-term fix. A manager sees the same vulnerability and says, okay, how do we improve our entire patch management process so this doesn't happen again? See the difference? You always want to choose that long-term process-based solution.
Okay, we've talked a lot of theory. Now let's get our hands dirty and put this stuff into practice. Let's see how this whole mindset helps you decode some of those crazy, tricky questions the exam loves to throw at you.
This is a great way to check your thinking. If you read a question and your gut immediately wants to talk about which encryption algorithm is the absolute best or the nitty-gritty of configuring a firewall, just take a breath and ask yourself, how would my boss answer this? Chances are they'd be asking about the risk assessment or what the business case is, and that's the answer the CSSP is looking for.
All right, here we go. A classic CISSP-style scenario. An earthquake hits your main facility.
a disaster has officially been declared. What is the very first thing you have to do?
Okay, let's look at our options. A technician's brain, it might go straight to the tech stuff. Option A, minimizing impact to data. B, restoring business processes. D, protecting the physical systems. And look, all of those things are really important, right? But let's apply that managerial framework we just talked about. What's priority number one?
And boom, there it is. The correct answer is, of course, C, making sure your employees are safe. Because before you even think about a server or a data backup, you have to deal with the life safety issue. And as we've said, life safety beats everything else every single time. It's really that simple once you see it.
So after going through all this, what does it mean for you? How should you change the way you're studying for this thing? What's the real takeaway here?
What it means is you need to shift from just memorizing a bunch of facts and acronyms to really internalizing these core concepts. You're not just studying to pass a test, you're actually training yourself to think like a real security leader, to look at problems from a high-level, business-first point of view.
And here's maybe the most important piece of the whole puzzle. Your job as a security pro isn't to be the one who makes the final call. Nope. Your job is to do the analysis, to provide the risk assessment, to show the cost-benefit numbers so that senior management can make a truly informed decision. You are their trusted advisor. That is the CISSP mindset, right there. So as we finish up here, I want to leave you with this one question to really think about. Take a hard look at how you're studying. Is it turning you into a better technician, or is it preparing you to think like a manager? Because making that shift, that is the single biggest key that will unlock the entire exam for you and honestly, help you level up in your entire career.